We are live. Back again for another one. What's going on, everybody? Get some mic checks right out the gate. Make sure everything's going smooth here. Right out the gate. Much love, Deanne, E. Fitz, all the mods out there. Hoodie, Pixie, Kathy, Gabe, Crown Jewels in the house. Much love, my brother. Good to see you. I hope all is well. Got a lot of interesting stuff to jump into here tonight. Thank you for all the feedback. Mark, Becky, everybody out there. Appreciate it to the fullest. Yeah, man. Hope it's and thank you. Thank you for sharing, Steve. Good to see you. Susie, D. White, much love. All right, yeah, and that's the way to do it there in the chat. If you got something to get to me at Dabu77, it lights it up in red, catches my attention. You're more likely to get a response out of me. That way, if you need to get any info to me, dabu7@yahoo.com is the email. You can also tag me over on X at Dabu7 and at Dabu7 on Instagram. But yeah, if you hear anything in the background throughout this stream, it's probably rain on my roof. Outside of that, hopefully everything goes good here. We're on like the doorstep of big war, like any time. I know we cover these things all the time, and throughout the years, we've talked about a bunch of different scenarios, but like we're like right there. We're right. I feel like we're in World War. Yeah, United States isn't hit. We're not feeling any major repercussions, which is good. But in terms of all the rest of the world, it's like it's there. And I feel like we could get hit in any moment. And waiting to get hit is pretty stupid. I can see the writing on the wall. Got a lot of things to dive into there. A lot of weaponry being rolled out. Peace to all. Much love. Thank you for that super chat. Right at the gate. I appreciate that to the fullest. Super chat, coffee is the best way to support the channel. And I want to thank everybody again that gets the stream out there in front of eyes that I can't reach. It's appreciated to the fullest. I'm not on all platforms. I just started posting again over on Facebook, so I don't know. I get ticked off because of censorship here or there, and then I quit posting in a certain spot. But all in all, man, even through all the censorship, you got to just keep battling. And we're going to kick this off here tonight with some of these mysterious blue lights that they're saying may be a first. And they're saying it's kind of odd, though, that they would be catching both of these instances, like right now, and it not be something else. You can see this image right here. It's pretty crazy. It flashes like blue light. If you slow down the frames, man, on the thing, it comes in and it looks like something. Like it is something. And it moves, the blue light moves so fast that it beats the snow. It's almost like it caused it. I don't know. It's very odd, if you will. But this blue ball light coming down, it's almost as if it, I don't know, it caused it. The way it looks to me, the blue light gets to the ground way before the snow. It's moving super fast. It's moving way faster than the snow itself that's falling. So it was very, very odd. They say that they've not found any previously documented cases of such an event, making it one of those first type of ordeals. And with all the talk of UFOs, UAPs getting put out, and just our high grade technology these days, people got cameras everywhere. They catch stuff like this. Um, just saying, hey, got some crazy stuff popping off a mountain. Whether it's something physical or it's just a light apparition, it's pretty crazy looking. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get any other evidence either way, but thought it was pretty crazy. And here's one. Now, our sun's right there. We can see our star. But all these other lights in the cosmos, all these other stars that are lit up in galaxies and all this stuff, every single time they've ever shown us an image of another star, basically it's not been real. It's all been CGI, rendered by an artist or something like that. So they're saying that right now they've taken a photo of a star in another galaxy for the first time. So maybe they've got one within our galaxy, but in another galaxy for the first time. And it's pretty crazy though. It's got these rings of light that expand out and around it, not like the rings of Saturn or something like that. This is like, and there's no telling how big this star is compared to ours. I wish I had some kind of chart that showed me that, but this is more than 160,000 light years away. And this is what it looks like. With these rings, a ring there, and you can also see what it looks like going out and around that one. What they're made of, what kind of debris, reflecting light, or anything else, we don't know. But I find it interesting because when it comes to our planet, when it comes to like the free energy we always talk about, it's because there's a big torus field that goes around the planet, energy field. And then you have, on top of that, radiation belts, the Van Allen belts, that I feel are the closest thing that I've seen yet to describing like a firmament. A spot where humans or life, period, even if it's above us in intelligence, if it's locked here, it's locked here. Like the Watchers, the Fallen. This radiation belt, you can send technology out, like probes, robots, things of that nature. But life, I'm not so sure. As far as it's written, there's some kind of means, obviously, to keep things locked in here. And, well, when I observe the moon landing, and I'm going to talk more about the moon in the end here, and it's a huge story connected to the moon. Man, nothing out here is as it seems. I've got a video on this channel you can look up. It is of something that is feeding off of our sun. I caught it years and years ago. Since then, I've seen other people catch it. What's crazy is it's returning. This is a real thing. And the very first time I ever saw it was like when I discovered it, going through all the archives. Because that's what you got to do. They don't give you movies. You got to go through for hours and hours and hours and hours till the sunrise, looking through these images. And when you start to see something that's crazy, you see something that's crazy. And when you go to the next image, like what I've seen, it's like a video in slow motion. They don't give you all the images, but they give you enough. And you can stack them together and then hit play in a video maker. and you've got this massive object that's like feeding off the sun. It's all black. It's all blacked out. And when it pulls away, a cord snaps every time, like a tether. Like it was connected to the sun, feeding off the sun. And as it pulled away, this tether, you even see it recoil back toward the object and recoil back toward the sun. It's insane. But it's returned multiple times. What could be this thing that is like, I don't even know how big. I want to say like way bigger than Jupiter. Like 10 times bigger than Jupiter or something like that. I don't know. I don't know the comparison. I wish I had a chart here on hand again. But, man, when I get this telescope in the future, we're going to put some things to rest. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of questions arise, too, with some things that we lock onto. But I'm going to get a filter so I can lock onto the sun as well. And we're going to see what's really going on. All right, I'm going to slide on. We're going to go to the weather. We've got a winter storm basically threatening all kinds of people. And you're talking like 80 million people it's going to be traveling for Thanksgiving this week. And you've got this storm coming right on through at the exact same time. You got this low, it's driving it. And they're saying Wednesday night into Thursday morning, major winter storm is what they're predicting here, especially going up into New England. Closer you get to the Great Lakes, I'm sure it's going to be dumping up there, right up in this area. And you're just going to have to watch it if you're traveling. He says there's 100% going to be a system knocking on the door. They just don't know the exact timing yet. So it's coming through. It's going to be dumping a bunch of wind, rain, and snow, depending on where you're at. He's got question marks here about Trans-Siberian Express. Closer we get, the more the model's a shakeout. But look, pretty sure a lot of people out there are going to be facing some cold weather this coming week. I know where I'm at for like the first time. We don't typically get stretches like this cold. This may be about the worst, but we've got a week where like the highs are like, right around freezing. And then, lows, 20s, and all that coming up. That's just my neck of the woods. That's typically warmer than this. But this is a big system coming through, so I'm telling you, man, you better gas up. I hope you got a backup power system. Because, let me tell you something. I got to send a prayer out right here. Ask the Most High to help these people, to help everyone that calls upon Him. But especially these people, our brothers and sisters, our fellow Americans that are sitting down in North Carolina right now in tents. As the teens are about to roll in. You got families with their babies out here in these tents. It's insane. I got to give a shout out and a salute to all the people that have gone down there and helped out. Cannons in the house. We had our brother Panther Gary take a trip down there with his wife, several, taking what they could, local supplies down, and it was just devastation. Everything he's seen, he said it was just like devastation. You can see here this family of 6, living out of this big tent that's got some tarps over it. Yeah, they got a fire out here, but that just, dude, when it gets into teens and you're in a tent outside, are you kidding me? People are going to lose their lives right here. This is the ongoing effects of all this, man. I mean, at this point, you've got it in terms of survival. Becoming homeless just to survive in the elements. If you're gonna have to live like this, you got to migrate further south. in my opinion. You got to get in the safer territory. Some people have nowhere to go, but I mean, you're homeless. But what's crazy is these people got the property still down here in the Carolinas. They just don't have nothing that was on it. Everything got washed away, wiped out. So, again, the Amish came down. They did at least 100 homes, 100 of these smaller homes to help people. And I've seen some other stories. Just a shout out to all the people out there that are doing their thing, helping the people out there as this cold weather sets in. I'm telling you, these things cross my mind late at night. And I'm sitting there stoking my own fire. I'm sitting there wondering, like, damn, you got all these people down there that have nothing. And I wish I could do more. I'm not in a position to be able to do much. But I send my prayers. If I know of any trips organizing to go down here to help, again, I'll let you guys know. I just feel for all these people. This is just one of many families that are down there suffering. All right, we've got a DHL cargo plane that has crashed. They're saying that this is in the Lithuanian capital of Vilnius. And the official report from the AFP is saying that this is either an accident or a hybrid incident, which is highly suspect. Other people are saying, like, why would they say that? Another outlet, German outlet, says that the German logistics giant DHL said there was no evidence of suspicious packages on board the cargo plane. They also say that there was nothing or no issues reported by the pilots before the terrain impact. This was caught from several different angles. This is probably the best, and it's pretty crazy, man. I mean, you can just clearly see this thing off in the distance coming in, and then, I don't know, the way it looks like it banks to the left a bit, and maybe its wings clipped power lines, because you see sparks that look pretty consistent with it. But I mean, almost instantly, as soon as you see that, it's just a big ball of flame. But a lot of the fuel in these planes carried in the wings. So if the wings do take damage like that, unfortunately, that's the outcome. A ball of fire. So here we go. Play this clip here.
Būtent ankstyvą rytą šio lėktuvo nusileidimas matomas dabar dešiniajame ekrano kampe, iš tiesų turbūt vienas ryškiausių šiuo metu turimų vaizdo įrašų atspindinčių aviakatastrofos mastą ir dūmai kita šio lėktuvo nusileidimas matomas dabar dešiniajame ekrano kampe, iš tiesų turbūt vienas ryškiausių šiuo metu turimų vaizdo įrašų atspindinčių aviakatastrofos mastą.
Yeah, so pretty horrific there. I don't know. It was pretty bright coming in. I don't know if that was just the lights or what. Back it up from this flash. Doesn't want to do it now.
Būtent ankstyvą rytą šio lėktuvo nusileidimas matomas dabar dešiniajame ekrano kampe, iš tiesų
looks like it hit something. It's below tree level. Look at you can see the light, or these buildings or trees, whatever these are, right here, buildings, whatnot. You can see the light reflecting off of them as it's going by. I don't know if it was on fire or not, but I don't know why they would not have reported it. Everything looks the same coming in till right here. This frame right here. Next one. Boom. Boom. It's just done. And then it's major boom. So I don't know, man. I didn't see nothing come out of frame, like a missile or nothing crazy. But yeah. R.I.P. to the souls lost on that. They actually said that only I don't know if it was a cargo plane or what there yet. Like one person dead. It's crazy. For that big of an explosion and plane crash, just one dead. Rest in peace, though. Trump saying that he's going to make all your energy bills cheaper. Of course, he ran with all kinds of promises, but one of the ways he's going to do this is he's going to start drilling, which means they're going to be fracking a whole lot more, which does raise the chances for earthquakes in different areas. They're going to be doing this a whole lot. They're going to be diving into all of our natural resources, and he's going to refill our strategic petroleum reserves, which Biden flatlined. You can see right here. You can see right here what Biden did to these reserves. As soon as he got in, it's like criminal. It's criminal. It's like treason. You can see where we were at the whole time running here, like on a steady base, and they even went up. As soon as Biden gets in, this thing tanks because he drained it. He drained all of our strategic reserves. I've reported on this many times. That's what he did. He liquidated it, meaning like we have no backup. If we were in a crisis situation, we'd have no kind of backup, no reserves. You're usually going to need something like that in a wartime situation. And here we are getting ready to walk into this is the biggest window chance of war we've seen in a long time. And he's got us like crippled. All right, we keep it pushing. We got young Americans turning off the TVs en masse. I don't have a TV. We don't have like cable or nothing like that here in my home. Haven't for years now. I could see how this is a trend. You got services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, all these others out there that are taking a huge chunk out of the TV consumption, especially in the United States. Traditional TV finding itself under increased pressure to defend its place to all the online stuff. They say in America, in terms of the usage, the large usage is mainly from Americans aged 65 and above who watch roughly 10 times as much traditional TV as younger adults do. It's very interesting because there's a gap here in terms of where information, knowledge, and all this stuff is and where it's being fed into and consumed and all this other stuff. It's like it's completely shifted from the TV. This is why you see people like Elon Musk over there saying like we are the news now over there on X, and like all these social media sites just going down, or news sites going down in the hole. I was talking about the Post the other day, MSNBC. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Big shift happening. So most of the young adults, 18 The 34 you can put right there. Shift it away from the TV. That's technology, right? That's technology. It's the world we live in. Stuff is wild and continues to get crazy, huh, Hoodie? Um, Look at this one. Farming robots being ran by AI. Now, double-edged sword when it comes to all this stuff, but this is an instance where it looks like it's going to do some good. It's already doing some good. I haven't seen any super negatives of it yet, besides the fact that, AI is tied into this. But it's all about what is it trained to do, and like what type of AI. You got a company here called Carbon Robotics that is reshaping the way that farmers tackle growing and battling weeds first and foremost. It's pretty crazy. They're saying that this is a brand new, remarkable transformation driven by groundbreaking technology. Yeah, it's a robot equipped with lasers that can destroy hundreds of thousands of weeds in mere hours. And they go on down here to say that it's to help with all the challenges that farmers are facing. It says weeds have been a challenge for farmers forever. Constant battle out in the field. So a way to stop that now is with this technology. This is beating out the use of chemical herbicides, which, are not good. Monsanto's been sued. I don't know how many times they've proven in court all these things cause cancer time and time again. And it's not good. So if you want to get away from these chemicals, this is the route that they're going. Farming robots, so to speak, autonomous weeders. They're going through and they're designed to address these issues that they've got out there. Labor shortages, as they say, environmental damage. And these things are supposed to be super efficient. It goes through and the AI is watching everything, every plant that's in front of it. And it blasts the bottom of the base of the plant without damaging anything else around. Once with the laser, completely destroying the weed and just leaves all the other stuff. So it's like a revolutionary jump here. You can do away with all the other stuff, but what's directed energy weapons? Yeah, I mean, pretty much, right? But it's all about the application of stuff in the hands that it's falling into, good or bad. I say it all the time. All types of things. I mean, a car could be turned into a weapon and made into a bad thing, right? And kill a bunch of people. Somebody wants to run people over with it. But it's all about the person, the people that are utilizing technology. So, one can only hope that we start to see something good in this world. I mean, this laser weeder is equipped with 3 times the lasers as their original model. This enables it to kill up to 200,000 weeds per hour. That's crazy. In just 1 hour, it can cover over 2 acres of farmland. And that's a feat that would take human laborers days to achieve. So as it says here, it's precision targeting ensures that only weeds are eliminated, leaving crops unharmed and the soil intact. So, I mean, you find some pitfalls to it, I'm all ears, but that's the bonuses. I'm going to say it's not going to be cheap. But the money, I guess, that someone's going to save in terms of paying laborers and all this other stuff. But again, this falls into the category of replacing humans with technology. It's pretty crazy. And rather quickly, if someone sees this and they look at the math and are like, well, if we just come up with this and just pay for this, then it's done. We've got it, and we don't have to pay workers no more or cover insurance on workers no more and all this other stuff that goes along with it. So it can change things quickly. Vikings in the house, man. Much love. Good to see you. Thank you for the super chat. All right, so moving on. Researchers warning that they have found an unknown chemical in our drinking water. Oh, really? A little late for that, huh? Telling us after all the people that's been drinking this stuff out of the tap, they're saying it's causing potential human health concerns. Well, you betcha. The toxicity, they say, still unknown, and I don't believe it. They're saying that they have uncovered a new chemical compound in the water, and it gets there because it's the result of them trying to clean the water with a certain product, like chlorine, to disinfect it of bacteria. But it creates this chloronitromide anion, or the CINNO2. It's an end product, they're saying, of an inorganic chloramine decomposition. So when this chloramine is used, this chlorine in the water to kill bacteria, this is basically created and left over. And it's like, hold on. There's no way you guys have not known this. But they're letting the cat out of the bag, but they're saying we don't even know what kind of damage it could be doing. But they're saying it's got possible links to cancer. It's like, okay, you don't know nothing about it. What are we doing? We just could throw out there possible links to cancer. Like, I don't trust none of them. None of these alphabet gangs, EPA, FDA, SEC, they can all shove it. And, yeah. Just so you know, another chemical mysteriously in the water. You gotta have to take this into your own hands. Drinking water, power, the whole nine, man. Straight up. Been saying it for some time. There's machines out there that produce it out of thin air. I've shared it many times on the show. You can get them now for anywhere from around $1,000 on up to a few $1,000s, depending on the size, the model, all this other stuff. But they're out there. They're out there. They pull good drinking water, clean water out of the atmosphere. And could be a lifesaver for certain people out there, or an option at least. I've got it on my list. At least try to get one in the next couple years if everything hasn't gone to crap. You can't beat something that's giving you clean, drinkable water instantly, right there, out of thin air. All right, gonna keep it pushing. Oil slumps, which you would think hopefully gas at the pump would go down. Gold has a pullback, and this is all on news that Israel is going to approve a ceasefire. And we already kind of seen this coming because they said that they were going to do this as a gift to Trump. That was their exact words. So they give Trump credit for this. It's pretty nuts. How long this lasts, I don't know. You know how this is with Israel. Rockets in every direction. But when you see the war stuff easing back, this is what you'll see. Things like this. Gold could pull back. If you hear more peace deals or anything like that, anything like on the peace end, okay, gold could pull back more. It's when all of a sudden rockets are flying and all this other end of the world could happen that it spikes and it runs the hardest. So we're not out of the war cycle. We actually just entered a brand new, as Pluto entered Aquarius, a brand new war cycle. One that saw 24 world revolts. the last time it happened. Yeah, we're primed for something huge. No, it's happening. It's happening daily. All right, let's look at an update on the electric car scam, the whole EV thing here. Northvolt, the poster child of Europe's biggest electric car company, maker, all that, just filed for bankruptcy after burning through billions and just being left with nothing. Nobody wants the stuff. If you look at what just happened here in the United States, Buttigieg is going to go down as the worst transportation secretary in history. The man got like insane amounts of money to make like 7 or 8, like a handful of EV stations, like into the billions, and just squandered it all. There's no way. That sounds like a scam right there. It sounds like somebody made off with a ton of money and they only put up 7 or 8 charging stations. Like, get out of here. It didn't cost that much to make that. Probably the most expensive thing in the whole charging station is the copper wire that the thieves would steal. But the computer programming and all that in it to make it work and all that, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's just charging energy. It's just a charger. It's pretty simple technology. Like, people are just, American people are like lost somewhere else. They're not paying attention to like none of this stuff. It would be refreshing to see some kind of grassroots movement that like was protesting and doing like something. I don't care. Like this something. Like righteous out there. Not just burning down random buildings and like Antifa and them all the time and clashing with the cops and never getting anything done. But like, you ain't got to go out there with pitchforks to say it all the time. Like to see some large gatherings of patriots. I mean, come on. What are people going to do now that the Trump rallies are over? We need large gatherings of patriots. All right, look at this. In Seattle, right here in the United States, EV drivers are panicking because they have no charging stations. The bomb cyclone came through and wiped out all types of stuff, and they're in panic mode. So just one crazy storm comes through, and they're in disarray. They're going to end up just like the company I just showed you, the biggest in all of Europe. They pushed this scam, and look, as they're exiting, as the Biden regime is making their way out the door, all this stuff is rearing its head. Like, these were disasters. It seems right now they're more focused on just trying to send money to the war fronts last minute as quickly as possible, more than anything else right now. And if you didn't hear when I gave the update, Kamala, she is looking to run again in 2028 because they don't have anyone else that comes close to her star power, they say. Right? The closest person with 8% behind her is Gavin Newsom. Unless you bring in a brand new all-star, rock star out of nowhere, they basically say that the demon rats on the other side, the Democrats, they need their own Trump to compete or to contend. Who's got the star power? It had to be some brand new face, but there's like no one in the ranks. I mean, in terms of weight and star power, it always reverts back to Big Mike. Like, I don't want to have to, but yeah, well, spare us. Obama made himself look like a fool out there pandering for Kamala this last few months. Lost the respect of a lot of people. And I don't know. I haven't even gotten to politics yet. Let me show you first that AI, not just the energy charging station. So imagine all of the EV stuff. Imagine how much energy that consumes there to charge up every vehicle. Okay? Imagine a city trying to power this. Now, add in your AI. People don't have a clue how much power this is going to take. That's why I tell you all the time, the power it takes to mine Bitcoin and all these other invisible nothings is ridiculously stupid. And I don't see how it survives. I think that alone kills it in the end. Like, look here, AI, they're saying it has such an insatiable appetite for energy that it is threatening Ireland's power grid. Much love to all my cats in Ireland. But there you go. It's that bad. Just one example here. It's the AI threatening the grid. You mix in all these other things, and this is all brought to you by the green energy scammers, which you should start calling them, because they did nothing but set up a situation here that's just not going to work. This is why you see them talking about compact nuclear energy all across the board. All these big companies are vowing they're going to it. They're going to these small nuclear stations, hubs, to produce their power because they know they're going to need a lot of it to run this AI. Look at this. Look how much energy it takes. Look at the world's most powerful supercomputers. Here's the top 10. And funny enough, almost all of them, like maybe 7 or 8 of the 10, are ran by HP Enterprises. And this shows the kilowatts, power consumption on the right, and this shows their max performance, the petaflops, right here in this row. So the top one, called the El Captain, it produces the most, it's the most powerful, and it consumes that much, as you can see there, but it's not the most. The Aurora consumes the most right there. Just look at this. Look at all this massive consumption just for the supercomputer. Just for the supercomputer alone. I just showed you the issue with AI. So, man, how are you powering all this? Like, it's insane. Free energy out of the atmosphere is the ultimate answer. I'm telling you all. Of course, you probably already realized this, but it needs to be a thing. People need to start mass producing Tesla towers that work, that are good, and that start supplying communities, neighborhoods. Start with a couple houses or one house, then move to two. And when your neighbor sees that, you've got this thing going on, they're gonna want some too. And you start to supply all these people. It's their worst nightmare, man. They never wanted it to happen, but we're at a point we're about to cross over into a high technology era, and this has got to break through. The stupid little scam of wanting to meter everybody on power at the house it's got to go. It's got to go out the window. The J.P. Morgan Chase scam of putting a meter in everyone's home and making you a slave. If I don't know, a lot of things can happen here. Technology. It's just a lot of power consumption, man. All right, let's look at this story about how much a person could steal from a major company. We got a Macy's worker that one person hid $154 million in expenses. That's crazy. In terms of getting away with stuff like that, that's nuts. $154 million in expenses. Just cooking the books. And someone that knows how to do that well is Warren Buffett. Of course, I told you guys what he was doing with all the stocks. He was letting them go, and we could see that he was about to dump big time. He had to keep below a 10% threshold, which he did. Now he can just dump city, and you won't know till next year. I believe he's done so. He's sitting on 320 some million in cash alone. That's an insane amount. So what they're talking about here is these philanthropists. They try to make a name for themselves as being these giving people. And he says that he wants to give away his money before he dies and all this other stuff, trying to make himself look good. Well, all this dude has really done in the past is give to his buddies, like Bill Gates. And Gates has given back. So it's like, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You throw your money over here, I'll throw the same amount back to you. And basically, when we do this, we make all this money like tax-free, and they jump through all these loopholes. So he's taking all these Class A shares and turning them into Class B shares and gifting 1.5 million of them to the Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation, I believe his wife, and then 300,000 each to his children's foundations, Sherwood, Howard, and Novo. So it's not like he's going around doing anything, giving anything to anyone else around the world, helping. He's just dividing it up to his family. You might as well have just called it a will. But no, he's saying it's their donations. It's just like, man. All right. So, if you didn't see my video from earlier, here we go again. Kind of warned about this many times. We've seen all the signs there. It's not full blown yet, but it's begun. The CDC confirming the first ever case of H5N1 bird flu in the United States. It's in a child in California. So this H5N1 causes upper respiratory and all this other stuff. They're saying the kid was tested and had like a combination of different viruses within the kid. The rest of the family was tested. They did not show any positive signs of having H5N1. They say that no human-to-human spread of the H5N1 bird flu has been documented in the United States, even in the limited number of human cases reported. So they're popping up on individual basis here. Let me remind you, the main lady that came out from the CDC that was behind all the jabs was saying that this is the one they've war-gamed the most. More than any is the bird flu. Because it can be so deadly. And they have focused on, they put all this money into making the jabs for this. They just got $100 and some million this year for this. Where have we seen all this stuff before? So they're already prepped, and the lady said it in the video. And what did she say? Where are they going first with all these jabs? To the farmers. This is like a red alert. Anyone that's a farmer, that knows a farmer, they should be fully aware of what's about to happen. That lady said there is a full-scale plan that as soon as this next outbreak happens, or as soon as the big outbreak with bird flu happens, they are going to go to every single person that sells food, eggs, or milk, anything like that. You got cattle. They're going to all of them. And they're all going to have to get into this program. And in the program, you have to be inoculated. If you want to produce food for your fellow Americans and make it safe, you've got to do this. That's what they're saying. Can you believe this? John, thank you for the coffee. Hey, man, I appreciate that. Much love, SoCal. Much appreciated to the fullest, my brother. So I'm just, look, we reported on this whole meeting they just had, all this stuff. Man. To date, 55 human cases of H5N1 bird flu have been reported in the United States in 2024. But when it starts jumping to the product, we got a problem. And here we go again, as the title says. The bird flu virus is detected in California raw milk product, prompting an urgent recall. So the kid and the milk, all of it, this whole thing coming out of Cali. So this is an urgent advisory, okay? They're saying the company here, Raw Farm LLC in Fresno County, they make raw milk. They're advising that people that have a product lot number bearing the numbers 2024-1109 with the best buy date of 11/27 of 2024, expiring in a couple days, you need to return them. At this point, anything with raw milk, I'd be like, what? You know, it got in there somehow. It's hard to believe that just a small amount here is contaminated. They're saying it's just this lot, but let's hope so. Let's hope so. Just saying. Look, if we wake up, any day now, and they're pushing this news, that more people testing positive, or more milk, or it's eggs, or it's meat, or whatever. If we start to see an escalation of this, that's the key thing here. If we start to see an escalation here at any point, it's over. They're pushing it. And I would say if they start pushing it, they'll go full bore. It's as hard as they can until January 20th. Hand this thing over to Trump. They're going to create a crisis. Can't you tell? Can't you see? Like, before this regime exits, the plan is to cause some kind of chaos. It's like, what's it going to be? What do you want? You want some bird flu? You want some economic doom? With $1 to get bid on? Huh? Or you want a cyber attack? You want things blown up? Like, it's like, they've got options, I guess. And I wanted to point out here real quick that since 2021, these numbers here alone are crazy. These statistics. That the Biden-Harris regime have spent $267 million on research grants on censorship for the term misinformation and to combat any information that they don't want out there. That is an insane amount of money just toward censorship alone. So, will things change when this whole Trump administration gets in there? Come on, man. Come on. Look, all these people trying to say this and that about X and Elon, and X saying it's the place of free speech and all this. I'm censored to hell and back there. Have been. He ain't freed me from no cage. I'm not the only one. There's a ton. And I seen David Knight. He used to be on InfoWars. It's, for whatever reason, stopped and seen a clip of him the other day, and he was saying like the same thing. He's like, how can I have all these followers and like get like 10 retweets? How can I have over 100,000 followers over here and get 10 retweets? Like no engagement, hardly. And I see an average person share something and they'll get like 3-4 times the reach when they've got like 1,000 followers. And it's like, what is going on? He's like, there's obvious censorship here. And anyone that seems to be in the news realm, like me, anyone, you're done. You're never going to beat it. You're never going to conquer it. They'll tell you leave. They'll kick you out. Then what do you do? Fighting a fight on a platform. If you can't do it there, huh? So it's all tactics at this point, man. We gotta. I have so many people. If you just go over to my notifications, you see what people say to me. All the way even up to today. I have people. Anymore, it's almost on a daily basis. It's at least a couple times a week that I see a comment that someone says, I have not seen you on here in years. I used to follow you, did blah, blah, blah. And it's like, hold on, man. Like, I ain't going nowhere. I just go look at my history, go look at my videos. And they do. And people see it. And like, I mentioned this to my wife. And my wife, from her email, subscribed to my channels and everything else. Like many of my friends, and even myself, I use a backup email and subscribe just to see if the notifications go up. She's like, I can't tell you the last time I ever seen a notification for any of your stuff. I'm like, there it is, right there. That's it. I pop off videos all the time. I'm live 3 times a week, and you gonna tell me somebody can't find me if they're following me? How the hell is that? How is that? Same thing on Twitter. Same thing. Put in a bubble. Same tool. It's probably the same tool used to hide all of us and keep us hidden. Probably. Sure enough. So they haven't changed nothing. A truly righteous one that comes through and opens the gate, for everyone righteously, you're gonna see it, you're gonna feel it. And like David Knight was saying, like when he posts, he's gonna reach, he's got over 100,000 people following him on the platform. He's gonna reach a good chunk of them if he can, not like 0.5%. It's stupid ridiculous. It is stupid ridiculous. That's a censorship. Remember, Biden regime has spent hundreds of millions fighting it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here with old Trumpy. Now, here's a player that was heavy in the game and has been on the run from the U.S. government for years. Thank you, Dennis, for the coffee. Appreciate the support more than you know. But this Kim.com, he's been on the run. Now he suffered a serious stroke, as they're saying. He's in New Zealand in a hospital, but they've been talking about shipping him to the United States so he could face charges. The United States is saying that through his website, Mega Upload from years ago, which he made a fortune and he's got millions, that, well, he was racketeering, that he was doing all these criminal things. And purpose, thank you for the coffees. Amen. Thank you to the fullest, man. Much love. God bless. Kim.com. I'm not sure if this is his first stroke or not. It looks like it may be, but he's going to need prayers. May not be the same after this one. A serious stroke can really mess someone up. I know. So I don't know what's going to happen here. I mean, he's been on the run from the U.S. government and all this stuff for some time. And every time I say that, I instantly think of other people out there that they've had on the run and eventually got. Like John McAfee comes to my mind instantly. They got him. They killed him. They got him. And they want you bad enough, like you won't even make it out of the cell. You won't even make it to trial or nothing else. You'll be whacked. Just like McAfee. You remember, McAfee got a tattoo on his arm and told us all on the live streams. Because I followed him, man. He was on the run on a boat, like out in the ocean. It's a big old world. It's a little itty-bitty boat shooting around the ocean, basically running from feds because he knew his time was up. He knew they were going to get him. They were coming for him. So he got whacked on his arm and showed everybody. D. Thomas, man, thank you for the coffees and much love. Thank you. So it's just sad with McAfee. McAfee fought the fight. You know, he gave a bunch of government officials, I forget the country. He probably could have done this in multiple countries. He gave all the government officials laptops, like gifted them to him. Because he was, the big McAfee guy for internet security. He gifted them all these laptops, and he had a backdoor hack into all of them. And he come to find out that the biggest secretary of whatever in South America was actually the biggest human trafficker on the continent. And all this crazy stuff. He busted it wide open. He did gangster stuff. He did legendary stuff. He's done something that ain't nobody been able to match yet. Ain't nobody match it, touch it. Ain't no one fired at the beast like that. Like this. Touched him like this. Got him shook like this. Nobody caught him slipping like this. Infiltrated a full governments. Seen the whole thing. Was seeing everything that they were doing. All the dirt, all the dirty, all of it. Seen it all. Are you kidding me? Of course they want him dead. Of course he didn't make it out of the prison cell. Didn't even see a court date. That is his... Boy, when you can do that, he should have kept his mouth shut, but I'm sure somewhere along the line, he knew they knew. And once he knew that they knew, opening his mouth was probably his biggest protection. Staying in the open, which is what he did. He tried. Until they got him. And he's done. He knew it. He thought it out. When you sit there and you think it out over and over, it's like he came to the same conclusion. Every time. Like, they're going to get me. They're going to kill me. They're going to kill me. That's why he got the tattoo whacked on his arm. I've never seen nothing like it ever in history. He called it. It happened. R.I.P., brother. You fought the fight. You fought the fight. That's the beast for you. Murders them all. So, the U.S. is blacklisting 29 Chinese companies over forced labor. I said this before. I started with a couple. I was telling you how Smithfield and all this. Then I reported on Tyson. Tyson in the whole the child labor thing. Well, here you go. 29 different Chinese companies. And as Trump steps into the fray, this whole thing against China is going to ratchet up. It's going to get more and more and more and more and more and more intense. Is what's going to happen. People saying Bill Cooper, Floyd Finicum. Everybody they've murdered out there, yeah. And look at these numbers. 94% of the voters consider Trump's victory legitimate. 94, including a vast majority of the grieving Democrats. They know it's true. They know it's real. That's insane. See, I mean, we all know. We all know what happened with 2020. And it's all making it stand out even more. I'm surprised they didn't do it again, but it seems they've got a bigger agenda, a bigger plan here with Trump, and that's even scarier. You cannot forget, Warp Speed started on his watch. He is going to back Israel pretty much no matter what at this point, and you guys know the war drums with Iran are beating hard. He's already requested military aircraft protection because of threats on his life coming from Iran, and stated that he will target them economically. Right now, he's firing off all the stuff about tariffs tonight. He said that he's going to put like 25% tariffs on like our neighbors if they're bringing in goods or doing all this other stuff. I'll get to that here in a second. But I think something's changed. I really do. I think that a vast majority of the people in this country have realized that the Dems are the establishment side, like full on. I've said this for the longest time. They're what I call the brown nosers, the backstabbers, the yes men. And that's what the government loves. They love to fill their ranks with yes men that'll slice your throat and snitch you out on whatever they say and do. They love that atmosphere. That's the left. That's the establishment. The people that hate that, all of us that love freedom, is on the other side, what they would call the right. Whether you like Trump or a Republican or not, that's the circle that you fall into. It's when it's one or the other. Okay? But most of the crowd has figured this out, it seems. And CNN is admitting this. I just want to play this admission.
I do think an important piece from last year, though, was that there was some research that showed for the first time in modern history that the perceptions of the two major political parties have actually flipped. For the first time, the majority of Americans believe that the Republican Party best represents the interests of the working class and the poor, and the Democratic Party represents the interest of the wealthy and the elite. That is a damning indictment on our party brand, and that's something we have to figure out as we move forward, is how we actually reconnect our very popular policy ideas, which are passing in ballot initiatives throughout this country, back to our party and our candidates, because that's not happening, and we have to do a better job there.
So yeah, when they start to admit these things, it's just like, yeah, there you go. And there is a huge shift here. There was potential for all types of stuff here. Trump to go to jail. Remember all this? All these charges, house arrest, all these things, they've just evaporated. As soon as they came out and said that this whole thing about not charging a sitting president and then he won it, like all the charges that got postponed, well, they're falling apart. And special counsel here, Jack Smith, officially dropping the election interference case. So it's officially dropped. We watch all these things fall away, so Trump a bit untouchable in this aspect, huh? Now, he's also planning an immediate ban on transgenders in the U.S. military. Okay, so, there's a lot of things that have happened in the past 4 years from this Biden regime that's going to get undone. And that's the crazy stuff when it comes to these elections every 4 years, when a president can just come in and undo everything the prior guy just did. It's just crazy. But we've got a whole franchise of new faces coming in. Call it whatever you want to call it. This super team with all these famous people and big wigs, big names like Tulsi Gabbard and RFKs and things of that nature. Well, even Hulk Hogan tonight saying that he believes the Trump administration has a place for him. It's like all these people out here doing their thing. Well, Tulsi, there's a couple positions here that have to be confirmed by Senate. I don't know if you guys realize this or not. But Trump nominated Tulsi to be the National Intelligence Director. And she has to go through this grilling. And then this Pete Hegseth, he is the Secretary of Defense. He also, both positions require confirmation by the Senate. So he nominates them. But as the process goes with at least these positions, the Senate has to approve it. Which, at this point, I'm going to say they're going to get in there. But I mean, they just took over, red wave and the whole and everything. So that's, if the Senate would have got taken over by the Dems or something crazy like that, I could say, hold on, But it looks like they're just all going to slide right on in, from what I can tell here. Oh, let's look at the countries real quick where all these people that got triggered by Trump's win are fleeing to. I was talking about the UK last week, Ellen DeGenerate and others. I think that's where they went. But Canada here at the top of the list. So the most people are fleeing to. It said in Colorado, searches for move to Canada. In similar terms, average 693 per month. Connecticut logs 327 searches, far outpacing second place Brazil at 205. Even smaller states like Maine showing strong interest in Canada. Japan is the second most searched destination. Wow. It ranks first in Hawaii and California for folks wanting to get out of there. They're looking for coastal beach setting and all that. Japan. And in Washington State, New Zealand takes third place. But Canada holding down the top spot there, where people are fleeing to. Canada, Japan. Get the New Zealand in there. And as this is happening, Justin Trudeau has riots erupting inside of his country. Montreal, seeing all kinds of clashes here. And they're dogging him out because he's caught dancing to Taylor Swift. It's rather pathetic. I'll play a clip here in a second. But you can see these clashes that are going down large scale up there in the streets. And they're saying that this is far left rioters. But regardless, any side wants to truly rise against the beast. Hey. This is in the streets up there. This is pro-Hamas groups and things of that nature in Montreal. And I've seen these groups many times in the streets over the years. I believe we've got a clip. Here's one. They're burning an effigy on the ground. And you could see all the police on the rooftops all around there. And that's usually how these events are. It reminds me of DC. Same thing. I've seen these same groups from the left doing this. But here's I'm going to play this clip right here. You can see it's showing Montreal on the left and Trudeau right now. Trudeau's right here. I'm circling him on the right-hand screen right here. You're going to see him just dancing around as all this is going down out in the streets. He's in here just dancing down to Taylor Swift. Look at him. Yeah, so doesn't surprise me. I can't stand that guy neither. It looks like he may be going up in Canada. I've seen all kinds of reports and rumors that even his own party and those around him looking for a fresh face. But yeah, that's the situation there. All right. They keep promising that this new, attorney general and all this stuff is gonna be doing all these things, and of course, Gates, they just shut down. They said this Pam Bondi is gonna be the one to come in and defeat the deep state. I just don't believe it, but I'm gonna let you listen to what Stephen Miller is trying to prime the audiences with out there.
Terms of this transition, it looks like Gates is gone, Bondi's in, and it should be smooth sailing. How are you seeing things?
Well, President Trump has assembled, as I'm sure you've seen, Jesse, the most transformative set of cabinet secretaries in American history. I mean, RFK, who's going to take on the deep state at HHS, take on the corruption in medicine, and make America truly and actually healthy again. You mentioned Pam Bondi. I've known Pam for years. She's a close friend. Look, people know that she has sterling credentials, amazing, unparalleled intellect. But here's what people may not know that I know. She is tough as nails. You want an AG who's going to take down the cartels, take down the migrant gangs, who's going to use the 70,000 law enforcement officers at DOJ to get rid of the foreign criminal enterprises in this country? That's Pam Bondi. This is the AG that is going to help President Trump deliver on his promise to liberate America. President Trump has also announced a transformative pick for OMB, Russ Vought, that just came out. Russ Vought, nobody And I don't mean there's any competition here. Russ Vought has been the guy for the last 4 years who's been developing the plan to take down the deep state. That's Russ. And he's going to be right there at OMB to execute that.
Look, even this dude has to laugh at it. Like, man, you're just pitching garbage out here. Take down the deep state. Just sick of it. You're taking down a damn deep state. Just enough to medicate the populace so they can lull them back into sleep where they're... Yeah, well... Trump, his transition team, they're claiming there's going to be no blanket pardons for January 6th in the protesters. So there's been a lot of talk about this and around this. I've been screaming, free Joe Biggs. And anyone else that's in there that needs out, that's caught up in this. I mean, some guys have already gone in, served time, and been out. Other people, they're still chasing down to this very day. And they're saying that they're probably going to attempt to go after every last single person that they can up till Trump's sworn in, if we make it to that point. Without them causing a bit of chaos or a crisis that keeps Biden in power. It's a huge move right now. If they can have a certain event or events pop off, Biden doesn't leave office until it's over. And you've seen the crisis we went through with lockdowns. It extended into years. So, but Trump's saying here that a case-by-case decision on each person. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. If he cuts some loose and then there's some that's sitting there and rot away. It's going to be interesting. Should be most of them, but anybody's left behind, man, we're going to be calling it out. This guy is set to be the next head of the FBI. They call him Kash Patel. And I don't trust none of them. But he's saying he's going to bring back trust for the FBI and all this other stuff. But a quick clip just so you guys can get introduced to who he is, because you're going to be hearing his name a lot, I feel. And seeing clips like this from here, he's going to be the guy. You didn't see Christopher Wray of the FBI before really doing a ton. You see his picture, and they talk about him a lot, but you wouldn't see him in a whole bunch of videos. You wouldn't see it. Like in interviews like this and nothing like that. You might see him in the Congress floor if they're grilling him or asking questions. But I'm going to run this one here on Kash.
Unfortunately, the public has also lost trust in a number of these agencies. Kash, how do you believe Americans will regain trust in our most important law enforcement agencies?
One thing. Exposure of corruption. Put out the documents, put out the evidence. We only have gotten halfway down the Russiagate hole. The people need to know that their FBI is restored by knowing full well what they did to unlawfully surveil them. The people need to know that there has been a de-weaponization, a defanging of the Department of Justice, and their houses of worship will no longer be raided. But they need to be shown the documents that said this was the reasoning they weaponized justice. And that, in my opinion, is how Congress can most importantly secure the trust or resecure the trust of these agencies and departments. President Trump is taking a huge first step with his monumental victory. Now it's up to Congress and the Senate to work with his leaders at DOJ and FBI to put out those documents. And I think DOJ goes a long way in that, but we're going to need cabinet secretaries who say, we don't fear the corruption that preceded us. It will make us powerful if we expose it to the American public.
Unfortunately, the public has...
Okay, so you heard your piece there from Kash Patel.
The mainstream media continues to nosedive.
I don't know. Yeah, he looked like a agent to me. I don't know. I run off vibe, and bunch of these dudes, I just don't. I don't know. Some of them out there are all right. They haven't. I don't know. Like Dan Bongino. I don't have nothing huge against Dan Bongino. Actually think he stood for a lot of good things out there. Of course, I could say that, and there could be something I don't know about him that he's represented that's not right. But in terms of fighting the fight, he's been going after the beast. And even some of the players, just locking horns with them. And I don't know, when you get under somebody's skin like Geraldo, and Geraldo really starts coming at you like he's going to try to do something, you piss him off, I think it's pretty funny. I've had it happen right in front of me. But he's going at Dan Bongino, and it just tells me, Bongino isn't liked by him and all these establishment goons. Oh, am I not going to open that one? I'm going to play this. This is a clip of them going back and forth here. And you can see how hot. I'm not going to play the whole thing, just the opening frames here. And you can see just how hot Geraldo is around the collar.
I have the solution to the problem. Cops wear their main weapon, their 9mm usually these days, on their dominant hands. Let's say your right hand. So this is the hand that has the gun. The taser is on the left hand, your secondary hand. So they're taught, use the taser in non-lethal situations. My suggestion is reverse it. Make the taser the first weapon of choice for a cop. Put the taser on the dominant hand and the 9mm on the secondary hand. It takes a half a second to get that if you need that in a life and death situation. But if you have the taser in your dominant hand, you're more likely to use the non-lethal weapon, and you could avoid the 18 accidental police shootings where the cop thought he or she was using a taser, Sean.
Dan Bongino.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
I think you'll figure it out.
Yeah. Give me a second here to digest the stupidity of that.
Hang on, let him talk.
Okay. All right, no, hold on a second, because
you're nothing but a name caller. You're a cheap shot artist.
Geraldo, you got to let him have his say. You had your say. Dan.
I mean, I never talk when he talks because I like him to just say these things because they're so easy to refute, but he cannot stop talking when I do. But getting to...
And I'm not even going to play into the whole thing. I just wanted to show Geraldo getting hot under the collar. Hey, thank you, Deanne, for the coffees. Hope you have a blessed Thanksgiving as well. Hope everybody out there has a good Thanksgiving and has safe travels. Just a good time, safe travels, no matter what you're doing. But it is that time, and it's going to get cold, so everybody stay ready. All right, let's dive into the war front here real quick. U.S. officials discuss giving nuclear weapons to Ukraine. Like, this is what you want to see. You don't want to see this at all. It's major escalation. You have to ask yourself why. Everyone's asking why. Why is the Biden regime doing this? Well, rushing this whole thing into major war is where they're taking this. So tonight, a lot of different things have escalated. I said in a separate video here, Ukraine's former top military commander, he says World War III's already started. I can't argue with that. It seems that that's the case. Again, I think Americans are only going to accept this or think this when it's too late, like once we've been struck. Pretty much. And then they got to live through the repercussions. Then they'll know they're in it for sure. But like everything else is there, minus us getting struck. It's all there. We're the ones waging all this nonsense and creating it globally. So, the whore of Babylon after waging war all across the place. Tuchin House, much love. Senior NATO official says to prepare for wartime scenario. That's right. Everyone's starting to say it. Everyone's saying it like, we're there. We're there. I showed you on the last stream. Putin has come out and officially made the statement that this is now a global war. I don't know what else that means. Besides, this is a world war. What's world, global? You know, same thing. It's a global war. It's a world war. He said it out of his own mouth. So they use these missiles, these hypersonics, man, that have never been seen on the battlefield like this. And we can't stop them. This guy knows it. They all know it. Until they can demonstrate that they can stop it, they can't stop it. Israel is supposed to have this badass Iron Dome, which we don't have here in the United States. And then Iran, whoever starts sending all these missiles in their way, and they're getting in. These hypersonics are completely different. They're not come cruising through. You're not watching this. These things, as I showed on the last stream, they come down like drips of lightning. It's pretty crazy. It's nuts how they come down, to be honest with you. They drop like raindrops of laser fire. It's nuts. Like, it's so quick. Turning everything to lava. It's, dude, like, when the people really start to see extensive video of the damage done by this new missile and the technology, they can arm it with any kind of warhead, any kind of different munition. So they're not using nukes. They're just using conventional at this point. Man, you strap some mini nukes on the tips of these things, it's over. Again, I don't see how you stop it. They're saying the same thing. The United States does not have a way to stop it. So, what do? We fire more American-made missiles. This time with cluster munitions that were supposed to have been banned in war. Now we're dropping them inside of Russia. Inside of Russia. After all these warnings and all this stuff, they don't care. Look, this dude's sitting in his car at work and the bombs drop right next to him. You can see he's got a thing of Jesus hanging on his centerpiece there. Watch this one.
Пиздец, ебать, там хуярит, блядь. Ебать! Твою мать, блядь! Пизда нахуй!
Man, that's about as close as it gets.
Пизда нахуй!
Without getting taken out. Yeah, man. So, we fired more in. So, what's Russia decided to do? Snap up some immediate nuclear drills on top of all this. Like, I don't know how many warnings people are waiting for.
Внимание, расчет, получен приказ. Есть приказ. Дублирую приказ на пусковые установки. Готовится к совместным действиям. Совместным действиям готов. Проконтролировать правильность набора. Набор верен. Внимание. Пуск. Есть пуск.
This is all like child's play. The rocket stuff is so normal. Rockets at this point are just like obsolete. When it comes to these lasers and it comes to these hypersonics, these are obsolete, man. It's nuts. Like, you better have hypersonics in your arsenal or you're smoked. Like, we don't have nothing. Here, I'm going to let Eric Prince tell you real quick. He knows plenty about this whole thing. Listen to this, a 2-minute long clip. Eric Prince explaining where we're at right now. And I agree.
SEAL officer Eric Prince. Eric, thanks very much for being here. Your reaction
Morning,
to
Maria.
this week and these long-range missiles sparking Russia's response?
There's no good outcome to this war. It needs to de-escalate and be done. There's no chance that Ukraine is going to retake its land, the Donetsk, the Luhansk, the areas in the east, certainly not the Crimea. It's been a fool's errand for the last year and a half, and all we're doing is wiping out the next generations of Ukrainian men, and Russian men for that matter. Imagine if there was this kind of border clash with Mexico, and there were Russian-provided weapons being fired inside the United States. There's no way we would tolerate that. This needs to be wound down soon, and I really hope President Trump can get on it literally from day one. I wish they could do pre-meetings, but even the way the Democrats pulled the whole Russiagate nonsense in 2016, I'm sure the Trump administration is hesitant to have that level of contact, but they need to, because clearly Biden, not ready to run for president again, not mentally up to the job, and clearly Kamala Harris is not either up to the job. This needs to be brought to an end by adults. Enough.
So why was Biden doing what he did, authorizing these long-range missiles while he's almost out the door?
To me, it's like a drowning man grabbing at any rope that might be available to him, thinking that it might somehow push the Russians to play nicer or something. There's really no practical reason. The fact is, the Russians fired a ballistic missile that carried 9 warheads going Mach 9 that there was no means to shoot down, and even with non-nuclear, the kinetic force, and even with non-nuclear, the kinetic force down, and that there was no means to shoot down, heads going Mach 9 that there was no means to shoot down, Mach 9 that there was no means to shoot down, and even with non-nuclear, the kinetic force is enormous, and those could have just as easily, it was a sign, it was a reminder by the Russians, we can smack you anywhere with nukes, and maybe that's what's coming next. So this is not a game that needs to be played any longer.
Wow.
Yeah, so I replayed it several times there so you could hear it. There's no means here on this world stage of what we know to stop it. Okay? That's what do you even say to that? All right, your adversaries have missiles or launching weapons that we don't have a way to stop. That means that they could use them on us at any moment. They could strike any city, and we can't stop it. Now, I'm going to say there is. Someone somewhere has something that can counter this. I think some kind of other hypersonic system that could catch it in time, as long as it picked it up on a radar or something in time, would have enough time to intercept it. But you're talking about something that they don't even want to admit that they have done. The cat's out of the bag on hypersonic at this point. And it's, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. We don't have nothing to counter this, per se, here on the world stage as it sits right now. It's nuts. It is slightly terrifying. We're in a global war now. We're in a world war. Our adversaries have weapons we cannot stop. It's a pretty crazy situation to find yourself in. And we're in a crazy window here. Up until Trump gets inaugurated, they could pull off anything, right? All right, well, we have a former Polish minister admitting that at least half of all the U.S. money that we sent over there was laundered by the Ukrainians, and much of it was given back to the Democrats. So that's what this whole thing served as, a massive money laundering hole. We knew this the whole time. They were buying gold with it. Everybody was. Even Ukraine with the proceeds that they were getting. But at the expense of their young men getting slaughtered, which it didn't seem that they cared. That's what it was. A whole generation of Ukrainians has been wiped out, and Russians. You know, it's been pretty bad. But will this all end? I'm not sure. Here's another example of why I believe it's a world war. A world war, by definition, is when you have multiple war fronts being fought for extensive amount of time, and you have massive amount of casualties that stack up on those fronts. So we're seeing that for sure. That's how all those are checked off. But one of the other key factors is when you have multiple nations drawn in to the conflict. Per se, when you have North Korean troops coming to Russia to back them up, to train with them, and then they're going to the battlefield, and they're fighting on the battlefield. Okay? That is what is happening right now. So they're reporting that a senior North Korean general was recently wounded in this Ukrainian strike on Russia's Kursk region. So they're on the front lines. It's not just them. The Chinese sending all kinds of stuff. Look, what's this? Russia reportedly recruited hundreds of Yemeni mercenaries to fight in Ukraine. So they're taking anyone they get. So the guys from Yemen, now they're pulling in. This is a world war. France, they back Ukraine firing its long-range missiles. So they're just begging to get hit, I guess, as well in Europe. Like, dude, we're on the doorstep of, like, something huge. The Navy's Indo-Pacific commander warns that Ukraine and the aid is draining. And that their U.S. missile stockpile is, like, going bye-bye. So, like, all of our missiles are, like, gone for when big war breaks out. They're not replenishing them for whatever reason. Air-to-air missiles that we need and all this other stuff. He's saying, yeah, our stockpile is, like, gone. Add to that this crisis with our F-35s. Apparently, there's a major cooling issue with our state-of-the-art, brand new fighter jets. Like, we're screwed. We're done. Smells like a setup to me. We're done. War breaks loose. I don't even see us winning it. And knowing that this whole thing's staged that way, it looks like they're taking it that way. It sucks. I don't know how else to put it. It's a nightmare. It's like knowing you're on the Titanic and the thing's going down. And you have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, nowhere else to go, but go down with the sinking ship. So, yeah, we're like hurting. Meanwhile, drones are flying over the bases here in the United States. They don't seem to care. They tracked a swarm just this past week. They didn't say anything else after they went through. in New Jersey. They had to have been able to follow them, like, to wherever they went, but they never said where. They never gave any other details. We knew they tracked them because we were seeing their choppers on flight radar. Sit there and track them. And they were doing circles and all this other stuff. Well, they never said anything. Now, we're finding out about these mysterious drone swarms detected over the UK and their air bases. All the air bases that host U.S. stealth jets. That's right. Our bombers that drop the deep bunker busters, the only ones that can hit the deep underground nuclear places like that are in Iran? Yeah. Mystery drones. That's right. This is nuts. They've been spotted over three. How is this even possible? RAF Lakenheath, RAF Mendenhall, RAF Feltwell. How is any military base going to have any incursion on their base and not respond accordingly? And be afraid that you can't shoot it down. Like, get out of here. Like, if this base gets hit one time and wipes out, like, they could launch like strategic strikes in one day on all these different places at the same time. Take them all out and, like, it's done. If they tried to strike this area with the hypersonic Mach 9 missile that they showed us they had earlier, they can't stop it. They cannot stop it. Iran announces expanded nuclear enrichment. Oh. So now they're just like rubbing it in the face like, nah, we're going to do it more. We're going to do more enrichment. So they're asking to get hit here. Xi Jinping, China, they warned Trump. It basically makes Trump laugh. It's a world stage. These two want to act like big enemies, whatever, but it's a big world stage, man. They say, though, that Trump has no intention of compromising with China. They appear focused on finishing the decoupling of the U.S. economy from China. And basically, Xi Jinping came out and was like, look, there's 4 red lines. And I talked about these 4 red lines. They've been talking about them this whole time. They're going to cross every one of them. Including this, and especially the tariffs on China. I mean, it's a given. So, I don't know if you guys know about this, but on election day, it caught, because it had so much attention, a lot of things happened, and people missed it. But look at this. China fired missiles over Guam on election day. Right? I made mention of it, but was nothing else. It wasn't the first time they did this. This is our most strategic position in the Pacific Ocean, and they're firing missiles over in the direction. It's not just North Korea doing this stuff. This is China in our direction. Missiles, dude. People are sleeping, man. I told you, we are in a world war. It's all about these key positions and allies and ports and things like that. And China has become a boss at taking over ports. They sure have. And when you take over the right ones, it gives you a strategic positioning. Now, they went to Africa. And they've gone to several different key ports in Africa, and they've gone to these poor countries, and they've said, look, we're going to give you like $1 billion a loan. And like in return, you're going to lease us this port, control of it for the next 99 years. Right? Next 99 years. But if you default and you can't pay back that $1 billion, the port becomes ours. And China is a master at doing that, and this is what they've been doing. Now they've done it in Peru. So now they've got pit stop places all over the place, man. Add Peru to the list. South America, Middle South America, they could be shipping in troops, you name it. Anything. They're going to control the ports. And all the goods going in and out. Remember the big warning that I put out here recently? And people seem to forget about it. Our major ports on the East Coast are using cranes that were made in China. And they put these satellite feed things in them that were not supposed to be there. I'm telling you what. Like, something crazy is about to happen with these ports. And these cranes, where China can remotely control them and just shut them down. They can. They've already admitted it. So it becomes a huge story here. When we go into a war, when Trump goes tit for tat with them, and all of a sudden, none of the cranes want to work. They're going to say somebody hacked them or something crazy with them. No. China has full control of them. And that is insane. Insane. Our enemies in this World War III setting have got missiles and weapons that we cannot stop, per se, and at the flip of a switch can shut down our ports. Did I forget to mention? They've got all kinds of land right next to our bases. Like, how is this even possible? How is it even possible? For real. Serious question. How is it even possible that they own that much land butted right up next to our military bases over and over and over and over and over again? Some of the main ones, the most strategic. It's a setup. This whole thing's a setup. So there's a whole lot going on in the South China Sea, and this is tying China into the world war, so to speak, directly. So let's look real quick. What's everybody doing out there? Well, it looks like, in terms of all these outposts, you can see Taiwan has got the Pratas Isles. And I've reported on the Parcel and the Spratly Islands for years. This is their main concern. China occupying all these areas. Okay? All the way down to the Spratlys, which is far away from mainland China. They're trying, if they had it their way, they would occupy everything in this whole South China Sea, because the sea holds their name of South China Sea. And they will literally try to control the waterways right up next to the coast of the Philippines here, like within 100 miles, like right there, zigzagging back and forth. And thank you for the coffee. Turn it down. And the comment. You can see Vietnam trying to take over some spots. Malaysia take over some spots. But the Chinese, man, they've even gone deep down into it, past their islands. Past their islands. This is a hot spot right here around the Spratly Islands. Major hot spot. Right there. You just remember that. Remember that name. And can you believe this? They give away the rough location of all of our military stuff everywhere. All the ships where they're roughly located. They may not tell you pinpoint coordinates, but they're telling you in the vicinity of where all of our stuff is. I'm not even going to go through the whole list, but man, this is the stupidest stuff in the world. But it also lists the other militaries. It's like, man, like, just tell your enemies in the whole world where everything's at. It just, like, your enemy, like, in the board game Battleship, like, your enemy doesn't know your positioning. You know? But like here, it's like, oh no. Quantum, thank you. Pure bloods all day. You got that right. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I got a handful of things here to still touch on here at the top of the hour, so I'll probably definitely go here within the next 30 minutes, wrap it up. A lot to cover. Look at this. Imagine they roll these things out. You're on the beach or anywhere, and one of these things comes out of the water. A Terminator robot dog. And they're all over the place. They're making them en masse. Elon's rolled out the humans, like the humanoids. Like, these things are... This is insane. So this Terminator robot dog now comes out of the water. It's got amphibious capabilities. Can have guns, grenade launchers, lasers, all this stuff. It's insane, man. They can control it like a video game with cameras on the front of it and all this other stuff, thermal, everything you think of. It can track, it can pick up your heartbeat, your body temperature, all that with AI built in, everything you think of, man. Somebody's controlling this thing like a video game. Like a freaking video game. Running up on a beach in, like, who knows where, and, like, just murdering dudes. Like, when your enemy's got stuff like this, you gotta watch out, man. You can't go fishing. You can't take out the trash when these things come rolling up. Like, no army, no, just one of these things creeping. Or a few of them. Telling you, man, it gets a little scary. What do you do if you see one of them things? When it's robots. Yeah. All right, let's jump into these migrant shelters, because it looks like a lot of these migrants are getting the picture that they need to go. New York City, we've seen a lot of shakeup up there. It looks like 12 of their main shelters are getting shut down. And it looks like 57% of Americans approve of deportation of all illegal immigrants. Of course, they're illegal. You know, that's the whole problem. They're not legal and legit. But what I will say, and I admit, is this, is, man, Trump is on film saying that they're going to let a lot of these people stay in. He's on film saying, we're going to let a lot of them in, a lot of them are going to stay, but legally. You know, so what does that mean? It just means that he says, all right, you've got amnesty. That's all it means. So it's, and in the meantime, they got their goon squads are going to be going, their strike teams going across the country to round up all these high-level individuals. Which, good, hope they do. But again, ominous warning, there's going to be shootouts. There's going to be doors getting kicked down, hostage situations. They're going to be coming up in people's works, taking IDs, IDing people, asking questions, and like invading privacy. It's going to affect a whole lot more than these dudes that are wanted. I swear you better not take your eye off that ball, because that's an ominous thing. Rand Paul dropping the hammer. He's going after the Denver mayor. And I was talking to Tacos about this. He's saying here that the Denver mayor may be removed from office because of his defiance of Trump's deportation. And he goes on to say that it's a form of insurrection, legitimate insurrection. And he goes off on this. Now, for whatever reason, this video clip, the audio and the video aren't synced exactly, but I want you to hear what he's got to say.
That the mayor of Denver, if he's going to resist federal law, which there's a long-standing history of the supremacy of federal law, if he's going to resist that, it will go all the way to the Supreme Court. And I would suspect that he would be removed from office. I don't know whether or not there'd be a criminal prosecution for someone resisting federal law, but he will lose. And people need to realize that what he is offering is a form of insurrection where the states resist the federal government. Most people objected to that and rejected that long ago. So I think the mayor of Denver is on the wrong side of history and really, I think, will face legal ramifications if he doesn't obey the federal law.
Huh? There you go. So there's going to be big time ramifications for this mayor that is basically trying to make it a stronghold in Denver for all these migrants, and he's not going to deport none of them. When you've got a guy like that there, that means you're going to have to send in feds, a fed team, specifically a special team to get him out of there. Interesting, man. I mean, this has got shades of sparking civil war, like right in front of you. People are going down, getting arrested, prison time, and all this stuff. So, all right. This brings me to my final two things to cover tonight. And I want to show you here an anomaly here on our planet. I should probably do a video on this. This is a massive gravity hole that there's no concrete proof or evidence of exactly what has caused it. They try to give these theories and ideas of what they think could have done it, but this is a region where the Earth's mass is basically reduced, and it leads to a weak gravitational pull. It also has lower than average sea levels, and when I say that, it reminds me of the Oceanic Depression at the North Pole, the top of the planet. But they describe this as being a spot where, like an ancient piece of Earth slipped under the mantle and into the Earth. And it had so much metallic nature going on with it that it created this. Created this type of gravity hole. And it's just, there's anomalies like this all across the planet that are pretty wild. And it brings me to this final piece here. On the moon. This is crazy. I've been telling you and telling you and telling you about this moon. This moon is covered with these pock marks from strikes throughout time that are all roughly the same exact depth. Large ones, small ones. How can this be? How can this be? It's in my firm belief that this, what we call the moon, this object, is a super high intelligence observing us that was put here, locked into position into this planet. It was formed, made, constructed, and there is a ton going on with it. Inside it, all through it, and it's hollow. Okay? So, what we've come to find out is that for some reason, there is an uncanny amount of metals that should not be there. Like titanium, in mass amounts of the strongest metals ever. Like all across the whole entire thing. Almost as if there's a complete layer underneath this dust and stuff that's on the top, on the ground. There's a whole under layer that is like a thin shell of the hardest metal you could ever find. That is consistent with this thing being an object. Okay? Like designed, created, not a piece of rock that's smacked into our planet and then formed into over millions of feet. Get out of here with all the crap. This was a constructed, perfectly put into position and placed perfectly. This whole thing, man, was done by a higher intelligence to a supreme degree, man. It's a work in itself, man. It truly is. The dynamics of all of it. I believe there's something special going on with this moon, big time. And I haven't even told you the main part of this, the headline of the story yet. That they have discovered a huge mass, what they call under the moon, inside, beneath the moon's far side. Okay? It involves a rare material typically associated with Earth, and it raises the fascinating questions of how? How? They're trying to say this and that. There's volcanoes on there that are dormant, and people are like garbage. They've proven that there's objects, building structures in these craters, even a tower on the moon, a massive tower. It's been photographed and shown many times. It's not a conspiracy. It's not a question. It's not photoshopped. It's real. And when I get this telescope, I look to prove this. To lock onto it, a lot of places, we're going to see some things. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. We're going to see some things when we do this. We did before. China is all over the backside of the moon right now with robots. Not humans. Again, this takes me back to the whole Van Allen belt thing. You can get electronics through the Van Allen belts. It's human life that, or it's life period that I believe is the thing. You know, fry it. It's a radiation belt, man. And there's multiple of them, rings of them. So that, I believe, is what stifled them, the whole thing with Apollo and landing on the moon and having to fake it and do all this other stuff. And they're being observed on everything. They were being observed then and now. When you look into the ancient folklore of the moon, there's some very interesting stuff. You can go back, and I said this before as well on a past stream. The Zulu tribe. Do your research, write it down, go look them up, watch some videos, get your knowledge on. They believed or they wrote of their history, like a lot of different cultures did and do. But in it, they spoke of a time before the moon and when the moon was put into place. They tell the whole story of it. It's very interesting. They're not the only ones. There's other cultures that speak of the same thing. Even Indian groups and tribes that repeat the same tell, so to speak. In the end, all this points to the moon being super special. Some even consider it to be, and it's written in their ancient traditions, a soul catcher. It is what catches all the souls and regurgitates them and transmits them via the tower, as it said. It sounds crazy and wild and far-fetched, but it's all there. It's all there. It is all there. Maybe the biggest thing to it is it's so wild that most people wouldn't believe it. So it helps protect it for them. But it's not that wild. The moon is hollow. They've proven it by slamming their things into it and listening to it with their instruments. So there is no big magnetic core, iron core, molten core, anything like that. It's not. It is a shell, I believe, made of the material they're telling you of the strongest metals we know of out there. A handful of them, including titanium. And that's what it's made of. And it's like a big ship. I mean, it's almost like he rubbed it right in your face in Star Wars. Because he knew. He knew what it was. It's everything you need to observe this place, watch it, everything right there. And it's crazy because with the ancient stories that talk about before the moon was put into the sky, it talks about the waters being still and a calmness and a mist over everything. That's crazy. Put the moon into position and it creates the ebb and the flow of the tides. There was no tides at that point. And to hear them speak of these things is wild. But, hey, our history is wild, man. And in future shows, I'm going to dive deeper into things like this. Into the fallen, the Nephilim. All these biblical apocrypha in writings that get overlooked. That are very important. That a lot of this stuff ties in together. The moon, a major mystery. Obviously, because they lied to us about everything. But who didn't lie to us because they had no need to were the ancients. So when ancient stuff, texts, and descriptions of things are discovered, it's very interesting. Because they had no reason to write down a lie, just lied to us all these years later. You know, they were, in a lot of senses, telling us what was really going on. But I think that this is wild. I believe the earth is hollow. I'm going to be touching on that more. It's definitely cavernous. And many rings. And again, the ancients described this. I'm going to go over this in a video. I'm also going to talk about the hierarchy of all these jinn and the demons and all that. Kind of sort some things out there. And it all ties back. These giants are all tied in with this big time. The Nephilim out of your Bible, when they were destroyed, their souls were specifically taken to become the very first demons, jinn, if you will, to test mankind. And all those stories are just amazing, if you ask me. David, thank you for the coffee. Ben, much love. Thank you for all the support, all the super chats, all the love. We live in crazy times. And it's going down daily. I'm trying to stay posting on the daily. Make sure to come over and check my channel at least by mid-afternoon, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I say that because people don't get my notifications for my stuff or anything like that. If you are subscribed, also make sure to hit the bell notification. A lot of people forget about that. Hit it, set it. It almost seems kind of counterintuitive there. Like, you hit subscribe and you think that you should be getting notified for everything, but no. You got to go set the stupid bell notification. If you're not aware of that, you're not going to get anything. So, yeah, man. We'll wrap it up on that one. Again, I want to thank everybody that joins me for these streams. Appreciate it to the fullest. I look to keep knocking them out, going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. And again, dropping videos, covering breaking news and stuff like that on the daily. Follow me on X as well. Always posting over there. Breaking stuff daily. So, alright, I'm going to take us out of here. Some music and look to see you guys next time. Much love. God bless. Shout outs to all the pure bloods. Forever. Much love.